right? I'm gonna start at the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 6. It says, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Right, so I'm gonna open up by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, rule well and teach well, Shalom. To the hopefully like men that scattered abroad, pushing this truth without sincerity throughout the folk of the earth. And also shalom to you very few sincere sisters that's taking heed and getting it in order in these last days. Right? I'm the brother One coming to the quick live lesson, through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. Right, so I wanted to go inside this lesson because I've been trying to post this video for over 3 days now, right? And Esau won't let me, so I'm gonna just try to go live, and Lord willing, it still come out. And so pretty much it was going into a TikTok video that I saw of appeared to be a Jake, Northern Kingdom, but he was just going into savages. He was talking about Trump and the ancestors of the so-called white man, like those are real savages. And that word that stuck out was that word savage, which I will go into later, but I'm gonna play this video clip and I'm just going to a lot of things that really consider this man a savage, right? So from here, matter of fact, I'm gonna open up with what savage is, right? So I'm gonna jump all the way down to where it says of a person's, all right? It says of persons, indomitable, right? Valiant, also fierce, bold, and cruel, right? So let's get that word for cruel right quick, right? It says willfully causing pain or suffering to others or feeling no concern about it. See? Right? And also, matter of fact, let's grab one quick scripture right quick. The book of Ezekiel, right? 35 and verse 5. It says, because thou hast had perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel, right? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and natives. It says, by the Slack, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamities, in the time that their iniquity had an end, verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, the Most High, right, I will prepare thee unto blood, right? That recompense shall, and blood shall pursue thee. If thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee, right? So it's that big payback that's coming back, right? Especially for you Edomites, man. But going to the perpetual hatred, he always hated us, man. And he was showing it all throughout history, right? Starting with Cain, man, right? Cain and Abel. All right, so from there, let me right, we got to understand the word cruel, right? Brutal, harsh, right? He did not care, about causing pain. He signed up for it, right? Because really, scriptures go into it how he is the cruel Lord, all right? Yeah, he's a cruel Lord. Excuse me. Right, so from there, let me go back to this video clip, right? How I came up with that this term savage, because this man was going into it, right? And I think I got this from the Brother Handle channel, Arrows of Indignation, right? I think that's from his page, because this right here really helped me, collect some pictures and stuff for this lesson, this live lesson, right?
One of his cronies should be arrested for their corruption. It's no, law and order. Oh, I see. So you just wanted to be able to brutalize minorities in this country and not be discomforted by it, and that's what you hired the cops to do. So that's just the reality of America. This is one of the hundreds of cases we've covered alone, let alone all the ones that are out there that when they attack black people after they've been
Hey, and this man is really speaking facts. You know, because the things I'm finna go into, it lines straight up to it. You know, I'm just want to say one quick thing, right? This is like you said, there were savages. Hey, did you know in the time of history, right, in the time of slavery, right, with the actual physical chains, right? We're still in slavery now, with the actual physical chains, they used to literally have picnics, right? At the Sunday service, they were what? Picnic came from what? Picking a nigga, right? And they would lynch him. That would be the Sunday evening, right? That's cruel. It says willingly to cause pain to another, right? They thrived off of that, man, right? And that's what I started off with. The scripture I started off with, right? The Lord says, "Hey, He will recompense them that had that trouble you." You know, Jeremiah spoke about it as well, right? Let me keep playing this.
They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. So don't you dare call a black man a savage after you murdered him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't. But if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers in the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages. They snatched babies and they sold them as property and they raped their mothers. Savages. That's what they were. You want to talk about stereotypes? Screw all of you who still defend that Confederacy, that monstrosity. Anyone who defends that is a barbaric savage.
Matter of fact, let me go back to that word savage because that's actually in there. Oh shit, it's like. Let's go back to it, right? Because when you look down some more, where's it at? Barbarians, right? See? Savagely cruel, exceedingly brutal. See? They pass brutal. They exceedingly brutal. You know? And hey, I'm finna show you a couple of things that, you know, that our people had to go through in the time of slavery, man. Right? When the physical chains and stuff like that. Right? The hardcore slavery, right? See this right here, what we're going through right now in this modern time, you know, 2025, this ain't nothing compared to what, you know, they had to do that fresh slavery, if I would say. You know? So let me go into this stuff right here. And I got a couple of pictures I just want to just go into. You know, like I said, Lord, when it's edifying, man, right? And this right here, it keeps our hatred towards the so-called white man, right? It keeps our hatred where it's at. You know, 'cause we can't wait to put hands on these fucking heathens, man. Lord willing, hey, Lord willing, I'm a part of that remnant. You know, and to bros that may check this out, hey, I know for sure y'all feeling the same way, Lord willing, we're part of that remnant to do the Lord's work, man. More than just teaching. We're ready to put our hands on these devils for the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shah, man. You know, Lord, like I said, Lord, we're part of that remnant, right? So this is the first one I want to go into, right? Because this right here comes from the scene of, if you ever seen it on YouTube, it's a free movie, right? But the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom, you know? And inside this movie, inside the specific scene, right? You had Europeans, right? And they were trying to keep alive the slaves. So what they would do, they would feed the slaves swine, right? In the movie, right, it correlates with this picture right here. But in the movie, Goodbye Uncle Tom, right, the slave was trying to move his mouth away from the European, the master, because he knew that swine, he's not supposed to eat it. Right? And so what they was doing was holding him down, right? And inside the movie, since he was trying to resist for so long, they grabbed his face real hard and they bust him in the mouth with the funnel, right? And with that funnel, he bust him in the mouth, and they made his mouth was just leaking. So now he couldn't chew the food that was coming down the funnel. So what they would do, they would pour water in it, right? To where it softens it up, to where all he has to do is just swallow it. You know, that's what these devils do, man. And they knew that we went by a specific order. They know that we don't eat swine, right? But this is your enemy. They don't give a fuck about you, man. Right? And that's why when these times will come, we won't give a fuck about them. Right? In the book of matter of fact, let me grab that out. That's like one of my favorite scriptures, especially when you get down to Esau, Edom. Right? In the book of Psalms. Right? Psalms 149. Nah, I'm tripping. 130 sound. Can't forget one of my favorites. It's like, yep, my favorites right here. Right, Psalms 130 sound, right through 9. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, right, which is America, that's the daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. Happy shall he be. Who's going to be happy? Right, the elect men of Israel, man. It says, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us, right, that recompense, man. Right? It says, in the NLT, it says, O Babylon, you will be destroyed. Happy is the one who pays you back for what you have done to us. See? Right? Because the Lord is a just balance, right? We're going back to the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and 6. You know, recompensing those that trouble you. Right? Verse 9. Happy shall he be. It's like you. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Right? Lord, will be a part of that remnant to get down, man. On these heathens. Right? Feeding our kids to alligators. Right? And that was for fun for them, right? You had all these different options of baits. Right? But yet you hate the children of Israel so much you put your child on the line. Right? And it talks about how, like, the child that screamed the most was able to attract the biggest gator. Right? Let's go back to these pictures, man. Right? Here goes another one. This right is the whistle walk. Right? So we had we had camp, Saturday, and I had mentioned this on a quick thing. When the spirit had, came across the priest Yaquab, and he was going into to the kingdom. How we gonna have our slaves, man. But one thing about it was, this right is called the whistle walk, meaning that when the slaves was cooking for the master's food, right, on the way back from the house to the main house, right, these slaves had to whistle just to make sure that they was not eating the food, because you cannot whistle and chew at the same time. That's how bad that they hated us, man. Right? That goes to what, Deuteronomy 28. You can be cooking these foods, but you can't eat it, man. Vineyard, but you won't be able to eat. Right? It says the whistle walk was the walk leading from the kitchen to the big house. Slaves were required to whistle as they walked, as whistling and chewing are incompatible. Simultaneous actions, right? You can't do it at the same time. It will also ensure that the slaves did not eat or spit in master's food on the way to serve. See? And you will wonder why your parents or grandparents would say, stop whistling inside the goddamn house. Because that's trauma, man. That's what that did. That's trauma. Right? And I'm going to say one thing at the top of the screen. See that it keep beeping? That goes to show you that, hey, Esau be watching, man. Right? And I want to say he be taking pictures with that flashing light. Because you don't see that unless you're using another phone to record. right? But anyway, fuck them, right? Because in this video, what the man was speaking on, you was selling these kids babies, man, right? This right here come this day right here, January 1st, right? December 31st was really called Heartbreak Day, because January 1st is when they was the renewing of slaves, you know. So that was like the new contract day, new hire day, right? So matter of fact, when you read this article, it says slaves dread New Year's Day the worst, right? January 1st. The grim history of January 1st. New Year's Day used to be widely known as hiring day or heartbreak day. Because why? Hey, like I said, that was a time of what? You renewing your contract with a different slave owner. Right? That's the time of families will get split up, you know? And then sometimes in cases they wouldn't see their families ever again. So that was heartbreak days for them. That's why they dreaded January 1st on December the 31st. Right? So I'm just going on through this one. Right? This right here is called neck collars. Right? It said neck collars were also placed on them for months to remind them of their wrongdoing if they did any wrong. Right? It says if they did any wrong. Collars were thick and heavy and often had protruding spikes that made field work difficult and prevented the wearer from resting at night. See? That's how much they hated you, man. And this is really all a form of buck breaking. That's all this was, a form of buck breaking, man. They love taking the big, strong males and making them submit, right? And it's one of my favorites too, right? The Levi jeans, right? Because look what they tell you what it is today. How they showing you how the strength of the jeans are, right? But actually, back in time, right, for punishment, they would actually these jeans would be a replication of a slave, right? They would put this slave, right, and they'll stand the slave up, and they will tie strings or rope to 2 parts of the man, or you can put, I'm gonna say 4 parts, right, on both arms and both legs, right, and they will make these horses go their separate ways and pull the man body into pretty much dismember the man body. Right, that's how much hatred they had towards you, right? But I'm gonna read this right quick. It says, take the meanest and most restless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggers, the female and the nigger infant, tar and feather him, right? And that tar and feather goes into literally tar, right? They would have a tar and they would burn that shit, bro, and they'll pour it out onto a slave, man. It says tie each leg to a different horse, face in opposite directions. Set him afire, right? Set him on fire, and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining niggers, right? For an example, right? When you want to do wrong, right? That's what they say, so-called doing wrong, right? Esau used to get down, man. As I say, you can get recompense, man. It's the whipping post. It says our ancestors were tied to this device and beaten until they confessed their love for Christ. It says, please do not believe us, but rather look it up for yourselves, right? And really, all the history is on the internet. You know. That's why we can't wait to put these devils inside shackles, man. We're gonna beat these folks from Sabbath to Sabbath, man. From the end of the Sabbath to the beginning of the Sabbath. You know? Look what they have done to us, man. And it's all a part of the Lord's story. It's like it. Got a couple more. This used to be a 4th of July tradition, betting on who can catch the biggest alligator using their slaves' children. The kid that usually cried the loudest attracted the biggest alligator, your ancestors. So I ask you again, why will you celebrate the 4th of July? And that's a real question, because honestly, why are you celebrating it? You wasn't free. You was not free in 4th of July. You know? Right? This was a form of buck breaking right here. Pretty much how, it was overviewing, saying these this would be a slave that was, so I guess he would be able to say he was doing something wrong or out of order. Right? So in consequence, hey, these sodomite masters, right? They'll pretty much go inside these men, wreck them, man, to humble them, right? It's like, I read it though. It says, do you know that during slavery in the U.S., gay white slaveholders would buy male slaves to engage in forced homosexual sex acts? So like black men were routinely raped by their gay slave owners. It involves perhaps the most heinous and atrocious acts known to man on another man. The savage, right, what I went to earlier, the cruel, homosexual sodomizing of the black male in front of his wife. See? It says, family, friends, and children, a tool of pure pleasure to keep our young black slaves from ever being defiant. Right? Just so bad. See, because pretty much what he would do is he will humble that one nigger slave, and pretty much he'll be on display and letting him be an example for whoever else wants to buck up, right? It's another torturing mechanism right here, right? It says this was a torture mechanism where a slave had to go around on their tippy toes all day. If they put their foot down, the spikes at the bottom would go through. See, as you can see, they had it manufactured to where if you was to put the heel of your foot all the way down, right, it would pierce through your skin. And look, you was shackled, so you couldn't walk far. And also, you couldn't put your foot all the way down. So you see how uncomfortable Esau Edom was having us? You see how the perpetual hatred he had towards us? It's right here called the anguish pair. So this right here was called the anguish pair. Esau got down with this device right here. Let's read it. This is the pair of anguish. This device was created by Europeans and was used on slaves in the 1800s. The pair, as it was called, was inserted into the male slave's rectum if he refused sex with his slave master. See how fucking disgusting these Europeans is, man? If the man tell him no for fucking intercourse or sex, hey, this man wanted to pull this out, forcing his way. That's why, hey, fucking Edomites gotta go, man. It says, once inserted, the key would be turned until it was fully open and cause major damage or even death as punishment. See? That's how fucking of a hornball these niggas was, man. It says, regarding the female slave, if she refused sex, it was inserted into her vagina, causing massive hemorrhaging and infertility. And if you were found to be a liar, it was placed into your mouth, and the key was turned until your jawbone was broken. See, this how Esau was getting down, man. Right? He putting inside your female, right? Breaking up her shit. Even the male, tearing up a nigga rectum. You know, that shit is wild, man. And you don't think these Edomites gotta pay for that? Matter of fact, let me grab a quick scripture in between this right quick. Damn, so like I just had it too. It's cool. Right, Isaiah 14 and 21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities, right? So let's prepare slaughter for these folks, man. Get ready to die for the iniquity, right? And the sins that you was doing. You know, the Lord didn't give y'all the laws, but at the same time, y'all have to abide by the laws. You know? So that great recompense is coming for you guys, man. Let's keep going. Right? This was another one where they would make the slaves, right? Not just any slaves, family, brother slaves, and make them fight into the death, right? And you can already tell, for the one that do win, they could sleep in the house. All right? But what they like to do was, you know, Sunday afternoons, they'll gather the slaves, and pretty much this would be like a Sunday event, right? So back in the slave days, it was nothing more enjoyable for masters and overseers to feed slaves ridiculous amounts of whiskey on Sundays, only to watch the slave fight his brother, oftentimes to the death. And we wonder why they put liquor stores on every corner in the hood, right? Because really they want you to get rid of us. They want to get rid of us, man. But they want to do it in a cunning way. So like it. Right? And this right here goes into branding. Right? So this is how they would brand a slave, right? So if a slave was to turn up missing, right, this is how if they'll define that slave, they how to return that slave back to its owner. Right? And if you want to go even deeper, this is another thing about like how they're about to do with the MOTB, the mark of the beast. You know, that'll be a new form of branding with that microchip. Right? So you can go to another one. This is the Negro skin shoes. They hated us so much that what they would do, they would. Hey, you ever heard the term? Your parents ever said, "I skin your ass to death"? I skin your ass to death. Hey, that's what Esau was doing, man. You know, let me see if I can zoom this in. Right, it says Negro skin shoes. Right, this is actual skin from a person. They made purses, cigar cases, book cover, and more from the skin of our ancestors. See, this is how Esau was getting down, and this is how much he didn't give a fuck about you. Right? Matter of fact, let me tell you what you want. Yeah. He also had what's that game that they had? Hit the nigger baby. Right? I forgot to put the pictures in here with the alligator bait. Right? It's to feed the kids to alligators. All because they wanted some nice alligator skin shoes, right? They will feed a child just to get that alligator, man. Right? And y'all think these niggas ain't gotta pay? And then you had the nerve for Trump to say slavery wasn't that bad. And we can't wait, man. We cannot wait till we lay hands on these motherfuckers, man. Right? Slovakia, let me go back. Yeah. And this right here is what? Jingle Bell. This is the real Jingle Bell, man, because what? Slaves was trying to run away. They're trying to get the fuck on, man. Right? So when they did catch the slave, right, they'll put these bells on them because why? Excuse me. You won't be able to run with 3 bells because well, look, you only got 2 hands. So you won't be able to grab 3 bells at the same time and try to run. Right? And they try to cover it up with these jingle bells, with the actual song, the modern song, Jingle Bells, man. But it goes deeper than that. And I also want to bring up the point when it comes to the term hush puppies, right? It's the actual food that they have. But able to really came back to was back in the time of slavery, right? The slave with the chains on you, with the slave trying to run free. What they would do was they would grab some cornmeal, some thick cornmeal, right? And they would roll it all up to like a fat piece of dough, to it's real thick. And as they trying to get away, they'll throw them to the hounds. So with them throwing them to them hounds, right? It'll have them chewing on that cornmeal for a period of time, right? That's like you trying to feed a Jake, 4 biscuits of Popeye's bread, man. It will take them a while to finish it. So them hush puppies, the term hush puppy really came from them trying to make a puppy hush while they get the fuck on. Let me keep going. These thumb screws, man. Hey, Esau used to get down, man. They'll put these literally on your thumb and screw them in, just to hear that pain from you, man. Man hated us, man. This is the last one. It says, this is a face cage on Iron Mask. It says, it compromised a finely forged cage of 4 bars, size for a head, the front shaped to accommodate the nose. Slaves who dared to speak up to or against their masters suffered the punishment of the Iron Mask. Right? Couldn't eat, couldn't smell like that. Now the punishment I was going against it, if it was to go against it, it says, during the harvest of sugarcane, the iron masks were used to prevent them from tasting or eating the cane when they were thirsty or hungry, right? See, Esau eat them nose, man. He don't give a fuck, man. Right? Let me hit these other precepts right quick. Right? It's to prepare slaughter. Can't wait, man. Honestly, I'm gonna close out with this one right here for time's sake, man. Because I brought out the first 2. Let's hit that Revelation 13 and verse 10. I'm sorry, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Slakim. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the faith and the patience of the saints. Right? This man, put us into captivity. But it's gonna come out full circle because now they have to go into captivity, man. Look at the thing they have done to us, the children of Israel, man. Matter of fact, is that Lamentations? Fuck that. Let me go to that Lamentations, and I probably might close with that. Is it 1 and 17? 21. That's what it is. Right? Lamentations 1 and 21. They have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Right? And when you look at it, Psalms 83, all these nations have been proud about them having the Israelites into subjection, man. Right? It says, thou will bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Right? They're going to be just like us, bro. Right? But see, the thing about it, because they're going to drink that cup, but it's going to be more than what we drunk. Way more. Verse 22, let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me, for all my transgression, for my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. So the Lord finna get busy with them folks, man. These other nations. Right? Same way that I was doing us, we're going to do them, except for, the abominable acts. But for like whooping their ass, we're going to be doing it to them, man. Right? So, that was all in this lesson. Like I said, Lord wanted us edifying. And I'm gonna give all honor and glory to you. How about Shemel Shabbat Shem Cracker Dash? Hey, on to the next one, man. Shalom.